All right, we've seen how to write equations when you're given the slope and the y-intercept. What we want to start to work on now is how do you write equations when you're not given both pieces of information. So specifically today, we're going to look at how do you write an equation when you're given the slope, but you don't know what the y-intercept is. Now let's just start with an example. Let's say we know the slope of a line is 1/4. And instead of knowing where it crosses the y-axis, let's say this given line goes through the ordered pair, -8, 3. Now I want to write the equation of this line. So we're going to look at a couple different ways to do this. We can start with the slope-intercept form of an equation. So I could start with a form that I already am familiar with, y equals mx plus b. And something you'll realize is anytime we want to write the equation of a line, we have to know the slope. Well, good news is here we know the slope. So I can start by substituting in what I know. I know what the slope is. So I'm going to fill in 1/4 for the slope. But I still don't know b. I don't know the y-intercept. I can't fill in 3. 3 is not the y-intercept, right? This would have to be the ordered pair 0, 3 for it to be the y-intercept. But I do know an x, -8, and a y, 3, that this particular equation or line passes through. So what I can do is I can substitute those numbers in for my variables, x and y. So 3 would be my y value. And -8 would be my x value. By substituting those values in, the only unknown left in this equation is b. So I can now solve this equation for b. So 3 would be equal to 1/4 times -8 would be -2. And now solve this equation. I can get rid of my -2 by adding 2 to both sides. So that would give me 5 is equal to b. Now I have both pieces of information that I need to write an equation. I know what the slope is. The slope is 1/4. And I know what the y-intercept is. The y-intercept is b. So now I can write my equation. Y is equal to 1/4 x plus 5. Now there is a second way that we can solve this. We can use what's called the point-slope form of an equation. So not the y-intercept form, but the point-slope form, which looks like this. Y minus y1 is equal to m, or my slope, times x minus x1. Now initially this is a little bit easier to use because I just need to know the slope, which again I do, it's 1/4. And here I don't have to know the y-intercept. This x1 and y1 just represents any ordered pair that my line happens to pass through. Well, I know an ordered pair. Here's one right here, -8, 3. So I'm just going to substitute in all of these values. Slope for m, -8 for x1, and 3 for y1. So my equation would initially look like this. Y minus 3, then 1/4 times x minus -8. Well, remember when we subtract a negative, it's kind of like adding. So I'm going to put x plus 8. Now sometimes we might be finished here. If we only need the point slope form of the equation, I would be done. But if I want to write it in a form that's more familiar, standard form, or let's say this case, maybe I want to write it in slope intercept form, I need to rewrite this. So I'm going to try and get y by itself on one side of the equation. So I'm going to use the distributive property here. 1/4 times x would be 1/4 x. 1/4 times 8 would be 2. And now I'm going to get rid of the -3 by adding 3 to both sides. And that will leave me with y is equal to 1/4 x plus 5. Well, notice I came up with the exact same equation. It's the same problem. I just did this a couple different ways. So let's look at one more example. So let's start with a slope of 2 and it's going to pass through the ordered pair 2, 1. So I'm going to start by using the slope-intercept form. Maybe that's the method you prefer. So again, I can start by substituting 2 for slope. I know what my slope is going to be. So that would give me y is equal to 2x plus b. Again, I don't know what my y-intercept is though, but I do know it goes through the ordered pair 2, 1. So I know I can put in 2 for x and 1 for y. So 2 times 2 would give me 4. So I just need to solve the equation. 1 is equal to 4 plus b. I need b by itself. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. And that will give me a value of -3 for b. So again, I know now everything I need. I know what my y-intercept is. I know what my slope is. I can just substitute those into the correct spot. So my equation would be y is equal to 2x minus 3. Now let's try the other method. Let's use the point slope form. So initially that looks like this. This is the point slope form of an equation where I need 3 pieces of information. I need to know what the slope is. I need to know an x value, and I need to know a y value. Well, I have all of that information here. I know the slope is 2. I have an x value, and I have a y value. So let's substitute those in. So I put in 2 for the slope. I put in 2 for x1 and 1 for y1. And I don't want to leave it in this form, so I'm going to rewrite this. So I'm going to start by using the distributive property. And then I want to get the y by itself, so I need to get rid of the -1 by adding 1 to both sides, which would leave me with the equation y is equal to 2x, -4 plus 1 would be -3. Y is equal to 2x minus 3. Again, the same answer because I did the same problem, just 2 different ways to get to that solution.